Hello, everyone, and welcome into your Saturday Butt Fumble Sports Daily Show. It's so wonderful to have you with us. I hope your weekend is off to a fantastic start. We have a loaded show ahead of us. We've got college basketball tipping off in just about an hour. We have NHL, a full slate of games. We have the NBA today. We've got a lot of work to get to, so hope you guys are settling in. Hope you're off to a great weekend start, and I hope you are excited about all the games, all the research, all the trends, everything that we're about to do, and everything we're going to try and help you out with over the next, hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. First things first, if you're new to Butt Fumble Sports, first of all, where you been? Great to have you with us. Butt Fumble Sports is a sports content company created by a sports fan for you sports fans at home. The way we've been actually going about our show over the last couple of weeks is we've been doing our research live on the air. So while there are other places you could go to just get the picks straight up, we like to do our research live on the show so you guys can follow along, listen to the trends, listen to the data, see which ones you like, and pick and choose out of this smorgasbord, this buffet of different options, and that way you're well informed about what you're going to bet on, and that way you also know what I'm going to bet on. With that said, hope you hit that follow button, hope you subscribe, and hope you're a member of this community, because this community is growing every single day. We are so grateful for your support, so excited to get going with you guys. If you guys want to know the research tools that I use every day, Jen knows what I'm about to talk about. That is the Outlier app. I use two sources of data consistently throughout our show. The first one is the Outlier app, which allows me to look at every game, look at player prop bets, and go through all the trends, all the analysis, look at how money's coming down on a bet, looking how players do under certain circumstances. If you guys want a free 7-day trial to Outlier, DM me on Instagram. The other website we use is killersports.com, which allows me to look for free at a lot of the different trends and matchups that we'll be seeing over the course of the sports day. If you guys want to try killersports.com, just type it into your URL. That's KILLER sports.com. Those are the two sources of information that I get and go through every day. That's how we're going to go about our show. We're going to look at the various matchups on the schedule, dive into the trends, and try to find the best bets of the day. If you want every pick that I make every day, DM me on Instagram, Butt Fumble Sports. DM me on Instagram. I give away my picks for free. There are a lot of people on social media now who talk sports betting and they charge you for their picks. What the hell's that about? I do this for free every single day. I've been a producer of fantasy sports, sports betting, and sports ranting content my entire professional career. I've been at ESPN, Fox Sports, CBS Sports, and I've been a producer for Jim Rome. And I just love doing this. So I give my picks away for free. If you want to go follow people who charge for their picks, that's totally up to you. But I will never, ever charge you for a pick. Promise, guaranteed, my picks are free every day. It's up to you whether you want to follow or fade them. We hit at about a 65 to 68% clip. If I take out parlays, if I include parlays, we're around 55 to 58%. With that said, we give out our picks for free, so just DM me on Instagram. You'll get all of those. I have already put up my college basketball picks on Instagram and on the SHARPZ app. I went through about 2 hours ago all the college basketball games and did my research. So if you want to see my college basketball picks, they're already on the SHARPZ app or they're on my Instagram story. I wanted to give those out for free because college basketball takes so long to go through. So I just wanted to show you the picks. We're going to do research for the NHL. We're going to do research for the NBA. We'll also do player prop bets. But I do have college basketball picks to give out. I'm just going to give them out right away during the show. So that way we can get things off to a fast start. Couple of my favorite bets today from the college basketball side of things. I like Texas on the money line. Texas Longhorns at home against Oklahoma. I like Texas on the money line. I also like Florida State on the money line. They're facing Miami. Again, Florida State's at home. I like Florida State on the money line. Another one that I like for you guys, Florida Atlantic on the money line. Just want to give out some college basketball picks for free just to get us going. Thank you guys for joining the show and obviously get us off to hopefully a very cashy start. With that said, we're going to focus on NHL, NBA for a majority of the show. By the way, ZM, I'm not a UFC guy. I enjoy watching it from time to time, but honestly, I don't know nearly enough about the UFC to give out picks. So if you are looking for UFC picks, I'm sorry. I'm really not the guy for you. And that's actually something I want to make sure you guys hear. I love sports. I love talking sports. I love researching sports data. But that said, when I don't know something, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to be very forthright because I never want you guys to get the impression that I either know everything or that I know something, in which case I really don't. I want to be really transparent with you guys. That's why I show all of my picks for free, and I'll tell you if I'm knowledgeable about something or not. Like, I don't know golf at all. I don't know UFC at all. They're just not sports that I really know good data or have access to good data around. That said, I do know the UFC ticket tonight, the slate tonight, is incredible. I'll probably go out to a bar with a few friends and watch it. But who's going to win? Other than Sugar, I don't really know. I'm rooting for Sugar, but other than that, I really have no idea who's going to win. Very excited to watch it, though. That said, we're going to kick things off, and we're going to look at the NHL to start things off. Puck drop at 12:30 for a couple of games. There are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 NHL games on the schedule today. We're going to go through every single one of them right now. Then we're going to switch over to the NBA. And the reason we're doing NBA second is because later slate games start at 4 o'clock in the NBA and there aren't as many games. So we're going to start in the NHL. Then we're going to switch over to the NBA. Then we're going to do NBA player prop bets. So that's going to be the order of things. Hope you guys are settled in. Hope you guys are ready to talk some sports. Let's get at it, everybody. First thing we're going to talk about is this first NHL game, Nashville Predators against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Again, this game drops puck at 12:30. Right now, Nashville is a road favorite. They are getting 74% of the tickets on the money line. But funny enough, the Columbus Blue Jackets are getting 83% of the money. You'll hear me talk about this quite frequently throughout the show. When we see things going in opposite directions, public tickets going in one direction, the money going in the other, I tend to say follow the money. JB brings up a great point over on TikTok. I will never, ever use the word lock in relation to a pick. I hate that term. I hate the concept of it. It suggests that something is too good to be true, that something can't miss. And if we've learned anything in sports and sports betting, of course things can miss. Things go crazy. Referees call fouls that aren't there. Players get injured. Craziness can always happen. So I will never ever call something a lock. It's actually my least favorite term in sports betting. It's way overused. It's trite. And frankly, it's just wrong. There are no locks in sports betting. Do I have favorite bets of the day? Sure, and I'll make you guys aware of those, but I will never call something a lock because, frankly, it makes me a liar, it makes me a bullshitter, it makes me a jackass. 3 things I don't want to be to you guys watching at home. So I'll never call something a lock, but I will certainly tell you when something stands out as a really good trend, has really good data behind it. I'll tell you if something's a favorite bet. I'll tell you if something's like my best bet, but I'll never call something a lock. So JB, just want to make you aware of that so you guys get the general sense of how Butt Fumble Sports approaches things. I want to be very honest, very forthright, but also make you guys aware that you can always lose. You can always lose your money, so be smart about what you bet on. Don't make parlays that are too big. Don't chase bets that you don't have conviction in. Do things that you feel strongly about, and then keep your money in your pocket when you don't have that same level of conviction. With that said, let's dive into Predators and Blue Jackets, everybody. We're going to start by going to killersports.com and punching in this matchup because I want to see how these two teams have done against each other over the last few meetings when they've met in Columbus. That's actually something I always like to do. It isn't always applicable, but sometimes you get really good data about how a team has done at a certain arena against a certain opponent, and sometimes that can impact our thinking. So we're going to start by looking at how these two teams have done against each other in Columbus over the last few years. And again, this is why we do this. If you're watching over on YouTube, Twitch, or Kick, you'll see my research screen in front of you. If you're on TikTok, you just have to follow along with what I'm saying. Over the last 7 meetings between these two teams in Columbus, the Predators are 2-5 straight up. So the Columbus Blue Jackets have actually had success against the Nashville Predators when they're at home. That said, the over in the last 7 meetings between these two teams is 6-1. So we really like the over, and we really like the Blue Jackets, but that's just based on the meetings between the two teams over the last few years. Let's look at how these two teams have done more recently. First, we start with the Nashville Predators. How have they done so far this year? on the road. They're 18-12 straight up. How about as a road favorite? Something you don't see too often in the NHL. The Predators have actually been a fantastic road favorite so far this season. They are 8-2 straight up as a road favorite. Definitely something that has my attention. Maybe they don't have a good history going into Columbus, but so far this entire 2023 season, the Nashville Predators have been very good on the road, whether just straight up on the road or as a favorite. Again, 8-2 as a road favorite in 2023. That said, the under's gone 5-4-1 for the Nashville Predators when they have been a road favorite. Doesn't stay in line with what we were hoping for. I'm hoping to see more of that overplay given the history between the two teams. Let's now go to the Blue Jackets. How have the Blue Jackets been, first of all, at home so far this season? They're 12-20, not a very good home team. And specifically over the last few days, over the last few games, they have been good at home. They've won 3 of their last 4 at home, and those have come against some pretty good opponents. They've beaten the Rangers, the Golden Knights, and the Oilers in 3 of their last 4 games. The under has gone 18-4 between these over the course of the season when the Blue Jackets have been at home. Let's get back to looking at some more recent trends, though. I want to look at how the Predators have done. I'm looking at how the Predators have done on the road, and I'm actually going to shift this to how have they done since the start of February. We've been looking at, for the last few shows, how teams have done since the start of the 2024 calendar year. Let's tighten that a little bit. Let's look at how they've done since the start of February, so really tightening it. Something very interesting, the Predators are 5-0 on the road in the last month and a half. So since the start of February, since February 1st, the Predators have not lost on the road. They've played the Blues, the Golden Knights, the Kings, the Sharks, and the Ducks. So they haven't faced great opponents, but they have been winning consistently. The over-under 2-2-1, so not too much we can take from this. But the Predators on the road have been a very cashy ticket. We'll have to see if that continues today. Let's switch over to the Columbus Blue Jackets. How have they done since the start of February? Since February 1st, the Blue Jackets have gone 3-3 straight up, but the under has gone 5-1. This is a really tough one for me. We have trends going in slightly different directions. Historically, when these two teams have played in Columbus, the over has gone 6-1. But both of these teams are trending slightly towards the under over their last few weeks of performance. So it's a little tricky for me. If I had to go in any direction, I would lean towards the under, but only at a very favorable spot. I'm talking under like 7, maybe even 7.5. Let's see where we can get that. We switch on over to Outlier. Let's take a look at the total for this game. Right now, under 6.5 is going off at about -105. Under 7.5 is at -250. Now, between these two teams, when they have played each other, while the over's been a very consistent trend, they're actually averaging about six goals per game in their last 7 meetings against each other in Columbus. So while the over's been a very popular bet, we'll actually see that the average total between these two teams is at 5.7 in their last 7 meetings against each other. That's important to note because today's total is set at 6.5. So we actually like the under a little bit more now that we've gone into that data and gone into that research a little bit more. Again, I'll put our first hockey pick up on the board. I'm taking Predators and Blue Jackets, and I would take under 7.5. I know that is an alternative line that may not be attractive to some of you, but my job is to give you the bets that I think are going to cash, what the trends are suggesting are good plays, not necessarily to find you the best odds. That's actually something you've got to do for yourself. I'll go through the research. You decide what you want to bet. But sometimes I'm going to give you a bet that's what we call chalky. That's like a heavy, heavy favorite. You don't want to bet it, totally fine. My job's to tell you that that is a good bet, though. Now, as I look at what's available to us in terms of the money line and the spread, I really want to take the Columbus Blue Jackets on the money line simply because the money is going in that direction. Something tells me that's actually a better play than it normally would be just based on that trend of the money going towards the Blue Jackets. With that in mind, I just want to look at one quick thing. Since the start of February, man, really tough. Interestingly enough, the Blue Jackets, while they've gone 3-3 straight up, They've actually covered the spread 4 out of the last 6 games. The 2 games they lost by 2 goals to the Lightning and the Hurricanes. Those were the only 2 games they haven't covered since the start of February. Where can we take the Columbus Blue Jackets? Right now at +1.5, it's available at -166 on FanDuel, -185 on DraftKings, -185 on BetMGM, and -190 on Caesars. If I were to bump that up even more, you could get the Columbus Blue Jackets at like +2 at -294. Not attractive enough to me. I'll probably split the difference on this one. Bet on this one. Half is kind of where I'm favorite. Really tough for me not to bet with basketball bets. Just to start, all my you can get college basketball picks are already out there. Johnny, I'm not taking UConn. Not attractive to me. Griffin, Tennessee, Kentucky. I actually didn't bet that game either. The games in college basketball that I've given out already during the show is Texas on the money line, Florida State on the money line, Florida Atlantic on the money line. I'll also give out another one for you between Houston and Kansas. I'm taking Houston on the money line. I like Houston at home to get that win. Zach, you're following along on the SHARPZ app. Thrilled to see it. I also did post my college basketball picks on my Instagram story. I've been doing that more often. Obviously, you can get all of my bets straight away on the SHARPZ app. Anytime I place a bet, it shows up on the SHARPZ app. But I will also let you guys know that I do put out my picks usually on my Instagram story just so you guys can see it for free. That's something I always want to do to help you guys out. Let's go to our next NHL game. We're going to the Hurricanes and the Devils. Puck drop at 12:30. I will actually probably stop my show a little bit early because I haven't placed my college basketball picks, so you'll be able to find it. Joey, I don't know how you can't find me on IG. My Instagram handle is the same as my company, Butt Fumble Sports. Should be really easy to find, Joey. Butt Fumble Sports, again, my Instagram handle. We just talked about the UFC, Zach. I'm not a UFC bettor. I don't know enough about the UFC, don't have a lot of good data behind it, so I never, ever, ever put out UFC picks. By the way, Joey, the picks are on my Instagram story, so you got to check it out there. Okay, let's go back to the NHL. Hurricanes, Devils. Right now, the Hurricanes are another road favorite. So the 2 early games that we've talked about so far both have a road favorite. In fact, all 3 games that are starting at 12:30 today, the road team is the favorite. Very interesting there. Let's go to the Hurricanes and the Devils and see how these 2 teams have done against one another over the last few meetings in New Jersey. We're starting Hurricanes. We're going to the Devils. And again, we're using the website killersports.com. It's free. Outlier, you got to pay for. We can hook you up with a free 7-day subscription. However, the killersports.com is free. Great place to go if you're looking for trends. Okay, over the last 8 meetings between these 2 teams, the Hurricanes and the Devils, when they've met in New Jersey, the Devils have gone 5-3 straight up, and the over-under has split at 4-4. Not a lot of data here that really gets me excited, so I'm not going to overanalyze it just now. Let's talk about now how the Hurricanes have done on the road as a favorite. So far in the 2023 season, when the Hurricanes have been a road favorite, they're 14-9 straight up. But maybe more importantly, since about December 12th, they have been crushing it as a road favorite. 2, 4, 6, 8. They've played 10 games since December 12th. They have won 8 of those 10 games. The only 2 that they've lost, they covered in both of those games if they were an underdog. They only lost by 1 goal. So the Hurricanes have been scorching hot of late. Definitely something that has our attention. As for the total, when the Hurricanes have been a road favorite during this season, the under has gone 13-9-1. So the under's been a slightly better play. Now let's break down the trends with a slightly smaller sample size. When the Hurricanes have been on the road since February 1st, they are 4-2 straight up. The under is 5-0-1. So the under has been incredibly hot for the Hurricanes over the last, month and a half rather. But straight up, 4-2 straight up. Let's switch things over and let's look at how the Devils have done at home this year. The Devils, throughout the 2023 season, are 15-8 straight up. The over has gone 20-13 so far this year when the Devils are at home. When the Devils are a home underdog this year, they've only played 5 games as a home underdog. They are 1-4 as a home underdog. So, simply based on the trends that we're seeing so far, I will take the Carolina Hurricanes on the money line. Now, I will warn you guys, I'm going on the side of the public, or I'm fading the money on this. So far, 55% of the public tickets are on the Devils. 79% of the money is on the Devils. So I am going against the public, and I am going against the money. Not a position I love to be in, but I like the Hurricanes on the money line. Really like that bet. I also want to check an alternative line. What if I switch the Hurricanes from a favorite to an underdog? What would I get there? The Hurricanes at +1.5 is minus 130, minus 350. I'd actually do that. It's not a very good bet in terms of the odds, but if you're looking to put some things into a parlay, like a 2-3 leg parlay, Hurricanes +1.5 has been an incredibly consistent trend. Again, guys, I'm not always looking for the best odds. I'm looking for the best bets. So if I take the Hurricanes at +1.5, put them into some parlays with other bets I like, could be a good way of getting a big spread, a big favorite, and getting it closer to even money. One thing I will also stress to you guys, be careful about parlays. Parlays are killer. Parlays are how sportsbooks get your money more often than not. So if you really like a parlay, maybe you want to keep it to 2 or 3 legs, or something that I tend to do when I want to place a parlay, I often do a round robin. You can do that on DraftKings. Not sure about the other sports books, but that's something I would definitely consider. By the way, Brandon, I don't care about High Point. Sorry, we're not going to talk about it. So, sorry, that's a game I don't care about. But anyways, to this idea of round robins. What's a round robin? If I have 3 legs of a parlay, what a round robin does is takes bets A, B, and C and breaks them up into other bets. So say I have a two-leg round robin, I can go bet A and B, bet A and C, bet B and C, and that's how the round robin works. So say the C bet fails, that A and B bet will still cash. Good way of actually preserving your bet, even if one leg of your parlay fails. A couple of you guys out there have actually DM'd me on Instagram being like, oh, we hit 7 of our 8 bets in that parlay. Well, if you had done that in a round robin, that would have been incredibly good for you, would have been a profit for you. So that's something you guys should consider. Don't always place parlays. Parlays are the worst way to bet. Round robins are a good way to do that. So far, just a repeat for Joe, here are the bets we've given out so far. We have given out our college basketball picks already on the SHARPZ app, so you can check them out there. So far, the college basketball picks I've put out on the show are Texas on the money line, Florida State on the money line, Florida Atlantic on the money line, and Houston on the money line. We'll give out some more college basketball bets throughout the show, but the first 4 CBB bets that we've given out, Texas money line, Florida State money line, Florida Atlantic on the money line, and Houston on the money line. We're currently focused on the NHL. The NHL picks we've given out so far are Predators on the money line, Blue Jackets +1.5, Predators and Blue Jackets under 7.5, Hurricanes on the money line, and Hurricanes +1.5, but you'd have to put that into some parlays because the odds on that aren't great for you guys out there. Let's go to the next game on the schedule. And again, as mentioned, the 12:30 games so far in the NHL, all 3 games have a road favorite. Really interesting. I don't have the data behind it, but I'd be really curious to know how many times we've seen 3 games in an early window all have a road favorite. Kind of interesting there. The reason I say that is because one team's dealing with travel, one team's dealing with sleeping in a hotel, and yet they're all favorites. Kind of interesting. Okay, the next game we're focusing on is Oilers and Sabres. Oilers and Sabres. Let's dive into it, everybody. First thing we always do is we like to look at how these 2 teams have done against each other in the arena that they're playing in. So, how have the Oilers done in Buffalo on the road? Obviously, the Oilers have gone 2-2 straight up. Every game has had a 1-goal difference. So in the last 4 meetings between the 2 teams, every game has finished by just a 1-goal margin. Very interesting here. Makes me think the underdog as a cover could be a decent play. When the Oilers have been in Buffalo in their last 4 meetings, the under has gone 3-1. Let's switch it over now, and let's look at how the Oilers have done as a road favorite all season long. Very interesting, actually. The Oilers have gone 15-11 straight up on the road so far this year. They had that massive winning streak in late December, early January, but since the calendar turned to February, they've been kind of a 500 team as a road favorite. Let's actually look at that specifically. When the Oilers have been on the road since the start of February, they're only 5-4 straight up, and the under has gone 5-3. If we look at all season long, the under has gone 16-10 when the Oilers are a road favorite. So the Oilers on the road over the last 5-6 weeks, not as hot a ticket as they had been in the previous 2 months prior to that. Let's now look at how the Sabres have done as a home underdog all season long. When the Sabres have been a home underdog, they've gone 5-8 straight up. The under has gone 8-5. So the under's been a better trend for both of these teams over the last few weeks. Let's take a look at the Sabres at home since the start of February. Again, I always like to look at a slightly smaller sample size. Just gives us an indication of how they've been playing recently. Just because the Oilers were hot in December has no bearing on their performance today, but how they've done over the last 2-3 weeks, better indication. The Sabres at home over the last few weeks have gone 3-5 straight up. The over-under has split at 4-4. Interestingly enough, though, in the last 3 games that the Sabres have played at home, they have gone 2-1. How have the Sabres been as a home underdog over the last few weeks? 2-2 since the start of February. The under has gone 3-1. In every case, the under has appeared as a better play for this game. Right now, the total is set at 6.5. If I were to raise the ceiling on that just a little bit, I could get under at -210. Kind of an interesting play there. Certainly has my attention. I like the under 6.5 and I like the under 7. So that's going to be the next bet we put up on the board. Oilers, Sabres, under 6.5 and under 7. Those are the next bets we're giving out. As for how I want to bet this game, personally, I really like the Sabres to cover the spread. Now, the Sabres, when they've lost over the last few weeks, they've only failed to cover the spread once since January 13th as a home underdog. So I actually like the Sabres to cover that spread. If we look at how the public's betting this game, 55% of the tickets are on Sabres plus 1.5. I'm willing to take that. I'll put Sabres plus 1.5 up on the big board. And as mentioned, when these two teams have played against each other over the last few years in Buffalo, the margin of difference has always been 1 goal. That's really what I'm riding on. The under's been a strong play. So we've been through 3 NHL games, the early games, the 12:30 puck drops. We have covered those. Now let's get to the afternoon games. The first afternoon game, puck drop at 3 p.m. Penguins, Bruins. I believe this game is on ESPN. I got to double check that. I know it's a nationally televised game. Let's take a look at how these two teams have done against each other in Boston over the last few years. Penguins, Bruins in Boston since 2018. The Bruins have gone 8-3 straight up when they've played the Penguins over the last few years in Boston, and the under has gone 7-4. Interesting to note, though, in the last 3 meetings between the two teams in Boston, margin of difference was 1 goal. So certainly, much like the Oilers-Sabres game, you want to keep your eye on the underdog just a little bit. How have the Penguins done as a road underdog throughout this entire season? Matt, thanks for letting them know. In fact, let's let Matt pin that comment. Let's make sure that we have that pinned. So there you go, Matt. Let them know. You can check my Instagram at ButtFumbleSports if you want to see my college basketball picks. They're already up there. I put them in my Instagram story. Of course, every bet that I make every day is free. It's on the SHARPZ app. SHARPZ is a sports betting app in which it's like a bulletin board for your betting tickets. There's a lot of transparency. You can see every bet that I make. They're never behind a paywall. I never charge for them. I never delete them. So any bet that I make, no matter the sports book, automatically goes to SHARPZ. That way you never miss a bet that I make. Getting back to this Penguins-Bruins game, when the Penguins have been a road underdog this season, they've gone 4-6 straight up, and the under has gone 6-4. Since the start of February, the Penguins on the road have gone 2-5 straight up, and the under has gone 4-3. The Penguins actually have a 3-game road losing streak right now. Their losses were to the Kraken, the Flames, and the Oilers. Let's take a look at the Bruins. How have the Bruins been as a home favorite this year? Again, that's the entire 2023 season. Bruins as a home favorite are 20-12. They have won 3 straight games at home. Prior to that, they had a 4-game home losing streak as a favorite. So very interesting here. Bruins have not been as consistent since the start of 2024. How have they been since the start of February? Bruins as a home favorite since February 1st have gone 4-5 straight up. Again, they really struggled in February. Actually, in February, they only had 1 win as a home favorite. But since March, they've won both games as a home favorite. The under has gone 6-3. Interesting that the under between these two teams has been a very good trend and a very good play. That's actually where I'm going to go with this one as well. I do like the Bruins on the money line. Bruins as a home favorite. I do like them on the money line. But I do like the Penguins and Bruins towards the under. Let's just see where we can get the best bet on that one. Really quick, 92% of the tickets are on the Bruins to win. 70% of the tickets are on the Bruins to cover the spread. The over-under is actually split at 50-50. Very interesting. Let's take a look, though, at where we can get the Bruins, or where we can get that over-under. I like the under for this one. It opened at 6. It's since climbed. Interesting. It opened at 6, came down to 5.5, and has since climbed to 6.5. I kind of like that because if I like the under, I love that it's moving in my direction. I would take under 6.5. I'd also take under 7 for you guys out there who are curious about it. Let's get to our next game of the day. We're going through the NHL first. Then we're probably going to stop down. I'll place my NHL bets because I'm doing my research live right now. And then we'll come back on live to do NBA. One of the reasons I actually might delay it and restart our show a little bit later for the NBA is in part because injury reports will not come out so early today. The first NBA games at 4 o'clock. So we're doing the NHL because there's early games. But then we're going to probably stop down and come back on and be live for the NBA later this afternoon. Next game we're going to focus on, puck drop at 4 for the Calgary Flames and the Florida Panthers. 79% of the tickets are on the Florida Panthers to win. 94% of the spread, 94% of the tickets are on the Panthers to cover the spread. Let's go into some trends, everybody. Flames, Panthers. How have these two teams done against each other in Florida over the last few years? Very even. It's been 2-2 straight up between the two teams, and the over-under's gone 2-2, so no real great data coming out of that. Let's take a look at how the Flames have done as a road underdog in the 2023 season, as they are an underdog today. Flames on the road as an underdog all season long have gone 7-9 straight up. They have been much better of late. Actually, since the start of 2024, they have gone 6-1 straight up as a road underdog. So the Flames have been scorching hot, pun intended, since the start of 2024 as a road underdog. As for the total, all season long when the Flames have been an underdog, the over has gone 10-6. Just something to keep your eye on. How about the Panthers? Oh, let's take a look at the Flames since the start of February. Since February 1st, the Flames have played 6 games on the road. They are 5-1 straight up since February 1st. So on the road, whether a favorite or an underdog, they are 5-1 straight up during that time. Their only loss was to the Rangers. It was a 2-0 loss. So they've actually done a really good job straight up out on the road, whether as a favorite or an underdog. Let's take a look at how the Panthers have done as a favorite over the course of the 2023 season. Panthers have gone 18-11 as a home favorite. The under has gone 17-11-1. Now, frankly, since the start of February, the Panthers have been phenomenal at home. Let's break down that trend a little bit more. Since February 1st, the Panthers as a home favorite have gone 6-2 straight up. Their only losses were to the Flyers, 1 point loss. Actually, their other loss was to the Flyers, another 1 goal loss. So the Panthers have won 6 of their last 8 games as a home favorite. Their only 2 losses was by a 1 goal margin, and it was to the same opponent, the Philadelphia Flyers. As for the total, since February 1st, the under has gone 6-1-1 when the Panthers are a home favorite. So just keeping our eye on all of this data. Personally, I really like the Florida Panthers to cover the spread. I also like the Flames to cover the spread, so I'm kind of split on this one. I'll take Flames plus 1.5. Flames plus 1.5 is the next bet we're going with. I'll also take the Panthers on the money line. So I'm kind of hedging both sides on this. One of these tickets is going to cash. I like Flames plus 1.5. Panthers on the money line. I don't have enough conviction in the total right now. It's kind of been split between the two teams. Feels like under 7 is a very good play, but do I have enough conviction in that to play it? Not really, so I'm going to avoid the total. But for those that are curious, if I had to go in any direction on the total for Flames and Panthers, I would go under 7. Under 7.5 would probably be where I go. Not a strong enough bet, not strong enough trends to place it. I'm going to recap all the bets we've made so far on the NHL before we continue on. I have the Predators on the money line. I have the Blue Jackets plus 1.5. I have the Predators, Blue Jackets under 7.5. I have the Hurricanes on the money line. I also recommend the Hurricanes plus 1.5. You'd have to move them from a favorite to an underdog, but if you fold that into some parlays, I think it's a very good bet. I like the Sabres plus 1.5. I like Oilers, Sabres under 6.5 or under 7. I like the Bruins on the money line. I like Penguins, Bruins under 6.5 or under 7. I like the Flames plus 1.5, and I like the Panthers on the money line. And we did give out 4 college basketball picks so far. I like Texas on the money line, Florida State on the money line, Florida Atlantic on the money line, and Houston on the money line. I'll give away one more college basketball pick for you guys who are watching, who are curious about that. I like Iowa State on the money line as well. So our 5th college basketball pick of the show is Iowa State on the money line. Let's get back to the NHL, everybody. The next NHL game that we're going to focus on, puck drop at 7 o'clock tonight. Blackhawks, Capitals, battle between Bedard and Ovechkin. Let's see what we got for this one. As always, we start by looking how these two teams have done against each other in the arena that they're going to be playing in. Blackhawks, Capitals, they've only played 3 times since 2018 in Washington. Blackhawks have gone 1-2 straight up. The over has gone 2-0-1, so interesting that the over's been a slightly better play. But for all 3 games, the total was set at 6 goals. Today, the total is set at 5.5. So if you like the over, it's actually a great line to take it at. Let's go see how the Blackhawks have done as a road underdog all season long. So far, 2023 season, the Blackhawks have gone 5-26 as a road underdog. And actually, they just broke one of, a massive road losing streak as an underdog. They 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. They had a 22-game losing streak as a road underdog prior to a win against the Coyotes 4 days ago. So the Blackhawks have been one of the worst road teams in the NHL, specifically as an underdog. God freaking awful, 5-26 straight up. As for the total, the over-under has gone 18, 12, and 1 when the Blackhawks have been a road underdog all season long. Let's take a look at how the Blackhawks have done. Since the start of February 1st on the road, they've played 3 games on the road since February 1st. They've gone 1-2. The over's gone 2-1. Very, very small sample size. Arctic Tiger, single tier on that one as well. And that Cavs-Timberwolves game was brutal because we thought the Cavs would win, Timberwolves would cover. We were so close to it, and then things got out of hand. Definitely Scott Foster had his fingers in that honeypot. Anyways, let's get back to the NHL. Let's look at how the Capitals have done as a home favorite all season long. Capitals as a home favorite in 2023 season. They have gone 8-3 straight up. 8-3 straight up. The under's gone 6-5. Now, they haven't been as good over the last few weeks. Since about December 30th, the Capitals have only been a home favorite 5 times. They've gone 2-3. But all season long, they've been a really good home favorite, and that's exactly what I'm going to take today. I've got the Capitals on the money line. That's the only bet I'm going to make for this game. Don't have enough conviction in anything else, but Capitals on the money line. Next bet I'm going to be taking. Stees, Oilers, Sabres, under 8. Love that bet. You also may want to make it a parlay just with maybe 2 legs. Maybe you take the Hurricanes plus 1.5, and then the Oilers, Sabres, under 8 goals. Stees, I actually think that's a really good 2-leg parlay. Not getting too aggressive by putting too many legs on it. But that said, brings both bets closer to even or plus money. We just focused on the Blackhawks and Capitals. Next NHL game we're going to focus on Toronto Maple Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens. This one has a puck drop at 7 o'clock. So far, 98% of the tickets are on the Maple Leafs to win. 60% of the tickets are on the under. We don't have any data about where the money's coming down because it's so early in the day and that game's at 7 o'clock. That's one of the risks we take on the weekend. When you have early starts, you don't get as much data about how the public's betting those games. Certainly impacts our ability to understand how we want to angle things. Let's get to this game, though. Let's look at how the Maple Leafs have done against the Canadiens in Toronto over the last few years. So, Toronto Maple Leafs, Montreal Canadiens. When these two teams have played in Montreal, they have played 16 times over the last few years. Really interesting. So far, since 2018, the Maple Leafs have gone 6-10 against the Canadiens in Montreal, but they actually have a 5-game losing streak against the Canadiens in Montreal. So Toronto has struggled when they've gone on the road to play the Canadiens. Will that hold up today? We'll have to dive into it. As for the total, in the last 16 meetings between these two teams in Montreal, the under has gone 9-6-1. Let's look at how the Montreal Canadiens have done so far as a road favorite. The Canadiens are the road favorite today. Let's see how they are as a road favorite in the 2023 season. The Maple Leafs have been a road favorite 24 times so far this season. They've gone 14-10 straight up. And really interesting, actually, since the start of 2024, let's make this sample size, this smaller sample size since 2024. Since 2024 started, the Maple Leafs have been on the road 15 times. They've been 10-5 straight up. As a road favorite in 2024, they have been a road favorite 9 times. They've won 7 of those 9 games. Very interesting. Now, it conflicts with the trend that we're seeing when these two teams have met in Montreal. But if I just take recent performances, the Maple Leafs have been incredible and not just winning. Even when as a road favorite, the 2 losses they had were to the Senators and the Islanders. They lost to the Islanders only by 1 goal. They lost to the Senators by 2 goals. So they haven't been blown out on the road as a favorite at any point in the 2024 calendar year. How about the Canadiens as a home underdog? Canadiens as a home underdog. Wow, they're 7-18 straight up as a home underdog this year. They're on a 4-game losing streak as a home underdog. They've lost 5 of their last 6 games as a home underdog. If I, again, look at this, just since February, when the Canadiens have been a home underdog, they're 0-4 since February 1st as a home underdog. As much as I don't like the head-to-head trends when these two teams have played in Montreal, recent data tells me Maple Leafs on the money line is the bet to go with this one. Do I really want to take the Canadiens to cover? They have covered the spread in 3 of the 4 losses they have since February, so I wouldn't hate taking the Canadiens to cover. Right now you can get Canadiens plus 1.5 at minus 135. Let's bump that up. I would actually take the Canadiens at minus 250 to cover a 2.5 goal spread. It's not a great odds spot, but it's a pretty good cover play. I'll take the Canadiens plus 2.5, and I'd probably fold it into some parlays. Again, A parlay you could put together is Hurricanes plus 1.5, Canadians plus 2.5, getting you closer to even odds. If you guys have missed any of the bets that I've made so far today, we give away our picks for free every single day. I never charge for my picks. They're never behind a paywall. We never hide them. We never delete them. There's a lot of transparency in the bets that we make. All you have to do is DM me on Instagram. My handle on Instagram is the name of my company, Butt Fumble Sports. If you hit me up on Instagram, I'll give you a link and a referral code for every bet that I make every single day. That way you never miss any of our picks. You never miss any of the advice that we're giving out. You can get access to every single one of them every single day. With that said, let's go into the next NHL game of the day, Senators and Sharks. You guys will hear me say this. The Sharks have been dog poop on your porch in the summertime. They absolutely stink. They're 15-40-7. Let's see how they have been against the Senators when they're at home. Senators against the Sharks. When these two teams have met in San Jose over the last few years, the Sharks have actually gone 3-1 straight up. The under has gone 2-1-1. But these are much different Sharks teams in the past than they are this year. We just like to be aware of the historical trend between the two, but not something that we usually focus on. By the way, those who have been watching the show for a while, let Matt know how I feel about the UFC. Let him know. Okay, let's continue to go. How have the Senators been so far this year as a road favorite? Senators are a road favorite today. So far this season, how have the Senators been as a road favorite? Senators have been a road favorite 7 times this season. They've gone 1-6 straight up. The Senators are one of the worst teams in the NHL as a road favorite. That is stunning to me. The under's gone 5-2, but straight up, the Senators have been god-awful as a road favorite. Really interesting there. Now, this is the heaviest favorite they've been all season long. Right now, the line's set at -210 for them on the money line, but they have been god-awful as a road favorite. Definitely something to keep your eye on. How have they been on the road overall since the start of 2024? When the Senators have been on the road, whether as a favorite or an underdog in 2024, they're 4-12 straight up. They've won just one of their last 7 games on the road, whether as a favorite or as an underdog. So there's a lot of reason to really kind of not like the Senators in this game. How about the Sharks? How have the Sharks been as a home underdog this year? They're 9-22 as a road underdog, as a home underdog, and they currently have a 7-game losing streak. 7-game losing streak as a home underdog. So these are two teams that have terrible trends in their current betting position. Senators have been bad as a road favorite. Sharks have been bad as a home underdog. Is there anything about this game that we actually want to bet on? So the Sharks, since the start of February, since February 1st, they've lost every game they have played as a home underdog. They have gone 0-7 as a home underdog since February 1st. The one note I take out of this, though, they have given up a lot of goals. Their opponent is averaging 5.6 goals over those 7 games. The over has gone 5-1-1. So between these two teams, is there any trend that we like? Not really. Senators on the road, the under's been a good play. Sharks at home, the over's been a good play. As for how they've been against each other, nothing we can really take from there. I don't like this game. I'm not going to bet it. There are a lot of trends on this one that are heavy in one direction, but the other side is heavy in the... I just don't like it. I'm going to avoid Senators and Sharks. Not enough constellation variables. You guys hear me say that a lot. I don't just want one variable going in my direction or one trend. I want a constellation. 3, 4, 5 trends or variables all going in the same direction. That's what gives me my confidence to go with a bet. I'm not seeing it right now, so I'm going to avoid it. We have 5 more NHL games to cover. We are going to be live for another 15-20 minutes, because then I got to actually place these NHL bets. So we have about 15-20 minutes left of the show before I'll stop down. I'll come back on this afternoon to talk some NBA. Let's go to the Flyers and the Lightning. Flyers and the Lightning. How have these two teams done against each other when they've played in Tampa Bay? over the last few seasons when these two teams have played in Tampa Bay, the Lightning are 4-2 straight up. The over-under has split at 3-3. Now, let's take a look at how the Flyers have done as a road underdog. A road underdog so far this season. When the Flyers have been on the road as an underdog, they've gone 12-12 straight up. The under has gone 14-10. Nothing really there that stands out to me. Since the start of 2024, the Flyers on the road, whether as an underdog or as a favorite, have gone 6-6 straight up. The over has gone 6-5-1. Still not a lot of great data there. That said, I will say, since February 1st, the Flyers have gone 3-4 straight up. Their 3 wins against the Panthers, Blackhawks, and the Panthers again. Their losses to the Maple Leafs, Devils, Penguins, and Capitals. Let's take a look at how the Lightning have been as a home favorite this season. Lightning as a home favorite, they've gone 14-9 straight up as a home favorite. The over has gone 15-7, but since February 1st, they have struggled at home. Let's take a look at it. Lightning at home since the start of February, they've only gone 2-5 straight up. They've done a poor job covering the spread. There's not a lot of reason to like this game. The over has gone 5-2 since the start of February when the Lightning are at home. But there's really nothing about this game that I'm really interested in. Maybe you want to take the over 5.5. That's the only thing I see right now that is attractive to me. That's Flyers, Lightning, over 5.5 I would take. You can get that at -160 on BetMGM, -163 on Caesars, -166 on FanDuel. I would take that bet. Flyers, Lightning, over 5.5. But other than that, don't really like that game. Going to avoid it. Let's go to the next NHL game as we continue to power our way through some puck. Next game we're going to focus on is the Blues and the Rangers. Blues and Rangers. This game's at MSG this evening. Rangers, when they have hosted the Blues over the last few years, the Rangers have gone 3-1. The over has gone 3-1. How about the Blues on the road as an underdog this season? When the Blues have been a road underdog, they've gone 10-15 straight up. The under's gone 16-7-2. They've really struggled over the last few weeks. Since the start of February, when the Blues have been on the road, whether as a favorite or an underdog, they've gone 3-6 straight up. Really, since February 13th, it's been terrible. They have gone 1-6 since February 13th on the road. Their only win was against the Flyers. The under's gone 5-3-1 over the course of those 9 games. So the Blues on the road, not a bet that we like. How about the Rangers at home this season? Rangers as a home favorite in the 2023 season have gone 20-7. Good home team. The under has gone 13-12-2. Not enough data there that I like. Since the start of February, though, the Rangers have been incredibly hot at home. Since February 1st, the Rangers have gone 6-1 at home. Now, as a favorite, it's even better. The Rangers have gone 6-0 as a home favorite since February 1st. That's where we're going to be taking it today. I like Rangers on the money line, everybody. Rangers on the money line is the next bet that we're putting up on the big board. If you've missed any of my bets, don't worry. I put up all of them for free. Just DM me on Instagram. I will never, ever charge you a cent for any of my picks. I want you to have them for free. That way you can spend your money on placing bets and not placing money on getting my research. I give away my research for free because you work hard for your money. You work your 9 to 5, or for some of you a lot more than that. You're a student. Whatever your situation may be, you shouldn't be spending money on research. You should get research for free. I give away my picks for free. If you want to pay someone for your picks, I guess you're going to have to swipe to another social media account that charges you for it, because I never, ever charge for any of my picks. That's a promise I make to you. Next game that we're going to focus on, we only have 3 left in the NHL to focus on. Next one's going to be Jets and Canucks. The Jets are actually a road favorite in this game. Let's see if this is a good bet to make. Jets and Canucks, when these two teams have met in Vancouver over the last 10 meetings between the two teams in Vancouver, the Jets have gone 8-2. So the Jets have played incredibly well when they've played the Canucks in Vancouver. This is a random note for you. This isn't a trend that necessarily has a lot of validity to it, but just something I want to call out. The last 10 meetings between the two teams in Vancouver on a Saturday, the Jets have gone 3-0. Does the day of the week matter in a matchup? Maybe, maybe not, but I certainly want to make the trend available to you. Jennifer, no, I haven't gone over the NBA just yet. We're actually going to wait to give out NBA picks today. I'll come back live a little bit later this afternoon. Because the NBA has its first tip-off at 4 p.m., we haven't gotten injury reports. It's going to be a little bit of time before we get that data in. So I don't want to give out NBA picks without knowing what the injuries are, and of course without knowing what the public is doing in terms of bets. So we're focused on the NHL right now. We'll come back on and do the NBA a little bit later when we have more data behind it. By the way, Dabber, that's freaking awesome, dude. That card's going to be worth some serious money. That is, talk about a breaker box win right there. So, with that said, Jets and Canucks, let's get back into this one. When the Jets have been a road favorite in 2023 or over the 2023 season, the Jets have gone 13-7 straight up. The under has gone 13-6-1. Wow, sorry. The Jets are an underdog today. Jets are an underdog. Forgive me, I didn't even see that. When the Jets have been an underdog on the road this season, they've only gone 6-5 straight up. Over-under has split at 5-5-1. How about since the start of February, how have the Jets done on the road? Whether it's a favorite or an underdog, they've gone 5-4. The under's gone 5-4. They have won their last 3 road games. They've actually won 4 of their last 5 road games. The only loss they have on the road in their last 5 games is against the Dallas Stars. But their 4 wins in the last 5 were against the Blackhawks, Hurricanes, Sabres, and Kraken. How have the Canucks been as a home favorite this year? During this season, when the Canucks have been a home favorite, Canucks have gone 16-7. And the over-under has split at 11-11-1. So not a lot that we like in terms of the over. The Canucks have struggled a little bit as a home favorite over the last few games. They've only gone 1-3 over their last 4 games as a home favorite. One of those losses was to the Winnipeg Jets. That Winnipeg Jets loss was a 4-2 loss. That came on February 17th. Since the calendar did turn to February 1st to now, the Canucks have been at home 5 times. They've only gone 2-3. Again, one of those losses was to the Jets that they play today. If I had to go in any direction on this game, I'm taking the Jets to cover. Winnipeg Jets plus 1.5. I don't like anything when it comes to the total. No real trends that get me excited. We have 2 more NHL games to focus on. Next one's going to be the Red Wings against the Golden Knights. Red Wings and Golden Knights is the next game we're going to focus on. First of all, we always look to see how these 2 teams have performed against each other over the last few years. Red Wings and the Golden Knights. When these 2 teams have played in Vegas, they played 3 times since 2018. The Golden Knights have gone just 1-2. Red Wings have 2 wins in those 3 games, but not a lot of data there. How about the Red Wings as a road underdog? The Red Wings have gone 9-14 as a road underdog this season. The over has gone 14-9 when the Red Wings are a road favorite. Now let's take a look at it. Since the start of the new year, since 2024 started, the Red Wings on the road, whether as a favorite or an underdog, they've gone 8-5 straight up. They do have a 2-game road losing streak against the Avalanche and the Coyotes. Embarrassing loss to the Coyotes yesterday. But the Red Wings on the road so far this year, 8-5 straight up. However, let's take a look at this. I want to look at one trend before we go anywhere else. How have the Red Wings done on the second night of a back-to-back? So when they have 0 days of rest so far this season, during the 2023 season, the Red Wings have actually not played a game without any rest at any point this year. Kind of interesting there. They'll do that for the first time today. I actually want to look at that trend on the other side. When the Golden Knights have played an opponent on 0 days of rest. So we'll go to the season, being 2023, and their opponent has 0 days of rest. How have they done? The Golden Knights have gone 3-2 straight up when they're playing an opponent on a second night of a back-to-back at home when the Golden Knights are at home. Overall, when they played an opponent on the second night of a back-to-back, whether at home or on the road, they've gone 4-3. So, not as great a trend as I would have liked. You would have think they play an opponent who's on the second night of a back-to-back, easy to get the win. Hasn't necessarily been the case. Let's take a look at how the Golden Knights have done as a home favorite this season. Golden Knights as a home favorite, they've only gone 13-11. They actually haven't been a great home favorite team. The under's gone 14-10. Really interesting note here. I'll put this up here so you guys can see it. Since the start of the new year, since the calendar turned to 2024, when the Golden Knights have been home, they've actually gone just 6-7. And since the start of February, since February 1st, the Golden Knights have just one win at home. They have a win against the Oilers back on February 6th. Since then, they have a 5-game home losing streak, and in none of those games did they lose by less than 2 goals. So there's a lot of reasons to kind of fade the Golden Knights in this one. Do I really want to take it? I don't have a lot of confidence in the Red Wings, to be honest with you, so I'll probably avoid it. But if I did have to put a bet down on this game, I would take the Red Wings at +1.5 or Red Wings +2.5. Red Wings to cover feels like a better bet, given how the Golden Knights have played at home, but I just don't like it enough to bet on it. Part of me wants to take the Red Wings +2.5. Actually, I will do that. I feel like Red Wings can cover a 2.5 goal spread. Again, this would be a leg of a parlay, so that's Red Wings +2.5. That's one I will put up on my board. Last NHL game of the schedule today is the Dallas Stars against the Los Angeles Kings. The Kings are a slight favorite in this game. Dallas is an even money underdog. Really interested to see what the trends tell us about this. Stars, Kings, when they've played in LA over the last few seasons, the Stars have gone 3-2. More notably, the under's gone 4-1. So the under's been a better play when these two teams have matched up in Los Angeles. Now, when the Stars are a road underdog, they are a road underdog today. When the Stars have been a road underdog this year, they're just 2-6 straight up. They actually have lost they've lost 7 of their last 6 of their last 7 games as a road underdog. Their only win over that stretch was against the Hurricanes, and it was just a 1-point win. The under has gone 3-0 in their last 3 games as a road underdog. Let's break that down a little bit more. Since the start of the new year, when the Stars have been on the road, whether as a favorite or as an underdog, how have they performed? Stars on the road as a favorite or underdog. We're getting the spinning wheel of death. Here we go. Stars on the road since 2024 started. They've gone 10-7 straight up. They've actually won 3 of their last 4 road games. The only loss was to the Avalanche, and it was an absolute blowout by 4 goals. Very interesting there. The under's gone 9-7-1 when the Stars have been on the road in 2024. How about the Kings? How have the Kings been as a home favorite? Kings as a home favorite this season. Our internet's slowing down a little bit. We got to check it now. Just waiting on the spinning wheel of death. Let's see. Okay. When the Kings have been a home favorite so far in 2023 over the course of the season, they've gone just 12-14 straight up. They have won 4 of their last 5 games at home as a favorite. Let's take a look at how they've done at home overall since the start of the new year. So the Kings, when they've been at home this calendar year, regardless of being a home favorite or a home underdog, man, my internet is slowing down. Joe, what website I'm using? I'm using 2 websites for my research. One's an app, the Outlier app. That you have to have a subscription. You can DM me for a free 7-day trial. That's Outlier. That's the sports betting research tool I use. That's an app. The website I'm using right now that you can see on my screen if you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, or Kick, is killersports.com. KILLER sports.com. It's free. It's great. It's a great website to use if you're looking up very quick trends. So that's Outlier and killersports.com. Since when the Kings are at home this calendar year, they've gone 6-7 straight up. The under's gone 9-4. Since February 1st, they've been even better though at home. Since February 1st, the Kings are 5-2 straight up. The under's gone 6-1. For me, there are a couple of bets that I like in this game. I would take the Kings on the money line. I don't have great conviction in it, but I do like Kings on the money line enough to put it up on my board. And Stars, Kings, I would take the under. Stars and Kings, I'd take the under. The under right now is at 6. I don't love it at 6. I want that hook in my favor. This opened at 6, went to 6.5, has come back down to 6. I would take under 6.5 at -134. I would also take under 7. Those are all of our NHL bets. We just did all of the NHL research for today's action. Let me recap all the NHL picks we've given out, as well as a few of the college basketball picks we gave out. Here we go, everybody. Predators on the money line. Blue Jackets +1.5. Predators and Blue Jackets under 7.5. Hurricanes on the money line, but if you're looking for a great parlay leg, take Hurricanes +1.5. I also like the Sabres +1.5, as well as Oilers, Sabres, under 6.5 or under 7. I like the Bruins on the money line. I like Penguins, Bruins, under 6.5 or under 7. I like the Flames +1.5. I like the Panthers on the money line. I like the Capitals on the money line. And I like the Maple Leafs on the money line. I like the Canadiens +2.5 as a leg of a parlay. I like Flyers and Lightning over 5.5. I like the Rangers on the money line. The Jets +1.5. The Red Wings +2.5. Again, leg of a parlay for that one. I like the Kings on the money line. And I like Stars and Kings under 6.5 or under 7. As for some college basketball bets that we like today, I like Texas on the money line. Florida State on the money line. Florida Atlantic on the money line. Houston on the money line. And Iowa State on the money line. As I mentioned to you guys, we're going to come back on the air in just a little bit because the NBA tips off today at 4 p.m., but we want to wait until we get injury reports. So I will come back on to do another show in about an hour or two. But before we bet the NBA, I want to know who's playing. I want to know how the public is betting those games. So we're going to stop down now. We're going to stop the show. We've been live for about an hour and 10 minutes. And we're going to come back on the air to do NBA in just about an hour or two. So make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you join us again. I am live almost every single day, giving out this research, doing it right in front of you. I like to think of myself as literally a chef that is cutting up and making the dish right in front of you guys so you know exactly what's going into what you guys are going to be eating. But by the way, it's up to you guys whether you want to follow or fade my bets. Entirely up to you. I'm the Benny Hanna of sports betting. I make the meal right in front of you. It's up to you whether you want to eat it or not. So I'm going to place all of my NHL bets right now. You'll find all of them on Instagram as well as on the SHARPZ app. DM me on Instagram. If you missed any of my bets today, DM me on Instagram. I give away my picks for free. I never charge for them. I never make you pay for them. All of my picks are free. So make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you're with us. And make sure you DM me on Instagram to get every bet that I make, regardless of the sport. I'll be back in about an hour or two. Until then, have a wonderful afternoon, everybody. And I'll catch you in a little bit. Goodbye, everybody.